this air-conditioned shack, and you can see the security guard in there all day. There's also a porta potty for them as well, just to make sure that nobody trespasses on this property, nothing happens to it. I also want to show you, Julia, the growing memorial. You know, this has been here from day one after this happened, but there are some new items. Dealing with graduation, these are students. Santa, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee were to graduate, and they received their degrees post-mortem, and this was, there's a graduation bear there. This was something that was a big deal, especially for the victims' families. The Goncalves family posted on their Facebook page that all four of the siblings walked for Kaylee during the graduation a couple of Saturdays ago. And so the university has not released what they're going to do with this particular property once the house is demolished, but it is a big deal considering it will be before that scheduled trial, October the 2nd of this year. And that's not all the university is going to do to memorialize the students here. They're announcing a healing garden and memorial that will be on campus at some point. I did ask about that today with the university. They say it's in the ideation phase. It will be a class project this fall that memorial garden will be in place, and it's just a part of a healing step, they said, that is part of removing this physical structure where the crime shook the community and to memorialize what happened here. So while the quiet campus is back to normal, seemingly here, Julia, still a lot going on to remember the victims of the murder.
And those are such important things to notate and remember what's going on there in this very little college town. I know you've been speaking to people for months, and this has just been so hard for them. You can only commiserate with them in the fact that they have to deal with this while they're also dealing with their classes and with exams and with the graduation and everything that's going on right now. But I do want to ask you more about the case, because we know there's a lot of things that are happening coming up very soon in June, but you flagged recently for us some new filings in the case.
Yeah, that's right, Julio. So since the hearings that took place yesterday at the courthouse, just about 10 minutes from where I am here at the crime scene off campus in Moscow, the defense has filed several motions. So here's a look at some of those new documents. They filed a motion, of course, to release the grand jury materials. Bryan Kohberger was indicted last week, of course, on 4 counts of murder and burglary. So they want to release those materials under protective order so they can study them. The defense was not, of course, invited to a grand jury proceedings. They also want to enlarge the time to file pretrial motions. He has not yet waived a right to speedy trial, so there's certain time frames under the law. They want to extend that. They also asked the judge to make available the record of the grand jury proceedings so they can see who testified and the content of the testimony. And the judge already issued an order as far as enlarging that time frame for pretrial motions. Usually in Idaho law under Rule 12, they must file motions within 28 days of a formal arraignment, which took place yesterday. But the judge did extend that in an order, allowing them 30 days after they receive all the grand jury material. So a lot more to come, as you know, Julia, in this case by way of court filings back and forth between defense and the prosecution. So we will keep track of all of that. There's also some, I just checked right before being on with you, there's also some new notices of hearings being posted. So every day something new happening.
Yeah, that's an important note, that they are going to get that time after they get the grand jury materials, because with this trial date coming up so quickly, you want the defense to have everything that they need so that they can give him the kind of defense that won't be overturned on appeal. I also want to ask you about the victim's family, because I understand that Kaylee Goncalves' father did an interview, and this happened right after that arraignment that you were present for?
Yeah, that's right. He did speak out on his thoughts concerning the arraignment, how that transpired, seeing Bryan Kohberger again in person inside that courtroom. Julia, he had his eyes locked on the man accused of murdering his daughter, and her friends glaring at him. He would express disdain, shaking his head, nodding, sadness, comforting his family around him. And he did speak out, talking about, what happened, but also his thoughts on the defendant. Let's watch.
Rage is definitely probably the primary emotion that you have, and then I remind myself that I need to, actually understand what's going on and memorize everything that's being said, take notes. So you want to be strategic as well, because justice doesn't fall out of the sky. You sometimes you got to earn it. You got to do everything. We're just parents, and we've been thrown in this. And, we just listen and we work together and we send out our emails and, did you hear this update? Did you hear that update? So we're getting more organized, and I think we'll have a full front, showing up in that courtroom. We moved here and people move here for the safety that we have. And we have to make sure that the world knows that you can't come to Idaho, you can't hunt our children down, and you can't kill them in their beds and just be given, a room to stay. And then, this guy's a smart man. He's going to try to exercise his influence and write papers for other criminals. And he'd have a presence, and he'd still be able to act as a bad character. And that's not what we want. We're looking for somebody to, pay the price of what he did. It's not one person. It's four individuals. We're doing everything that they could possibly do to better their lives. And they just went to bed one night, and some monster snuck into their home and killed them.
Some powerful words from the father. He's been outspoken from the beginning, as you know, Julia, representing not only his daughter Kaylee Goncalves, but also Madison Mogen, who was best friends with Kaylee growing up most of their lives. And as I told you yesterday, that newborn baby of Kaylee's older sister, Olivia, inside the gallery in the courtroom, making a statement on behalf of the family, her middle name, Maddie K, after Madison and Kaylee. So a moment, and of course the Goncalves family says they will be at every hearing, every step of the way.
I have no doubt about that we will see them, that they will be there making sure people remember not only Kaylee and Maddie, but all of the victims in this case. But we've been talking about what's coming up, but really what's the very next thing we are going to need to pay attention to in this case?
Yeah, we are expecting Bryan Kohberger to return to the courtroom sooner than later. June 9th is a big motions hearing day concerning the gag order that the magistrate judge put in place months ago. It's an expansive gag order, even covering the attorney for the Goncalves family. They've been challenging it and wanting it clarified because they want to speak out the family and through their attorney. And so that is going to be addressed, as well as the Media Coalition's motion to have it completely vacated. They say it violates First Amendment free speech rights, but it was interesting how the judge mentioned yesterday that also the defendant has Sixth Amendment rights, as we know, Julie. So he's going to have to balance that in making a decision. We expect Kohberger to be there. And also June 27th is a motion hearing for outstanding motions from defense. They have a motion to compel discovery. The prosecution has responded, and they would likely take up more motions that are filed between now and then, like I mentioned a little bit earlier. And then we also are on the lookout in this file because the prosecution has 60 days from yesterday to file notice of whether or not they will seek the death penalty against Bryan Kohberger. He faces 4 counts of first-degree premeditated murder that qualifies for the death penalty here. It is something that is expected prosecutors to do. And of course, when that happens, that would change the course and direction of this trial altogether, as you know.
Absolutely. The clock is ticking. Chanley Painter, thank you so much for all of that.